guest is my new co-worker and teammate, Jennifer Gugin. Welcome to our team.
Thanks.
She is a fully certified health coach, and she will be working with me and hopefully more intelligent, exciting people to help people and serve more people to get healthy and well and inspire them to live a healthier, longer, and happier life.
Exactly.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
Does.
So, what questions do we want to answer today? How about, I get always asked, what is it about that gluten?
Okay.
I know gluten, that is a big question. It is very much a modern fad diet. Everybody says gluten-free, gluten-free, gluten-free is healthy.
Exactly.
It's not healthy unless you're celiac or have a proven gluten intolerance. And the truth about the gluten is, it's not the gluten. It is the way it is processed, and it's the way the wheat and the other grains that contain the gluten are processed and are genetically modified and are added with toxins. The wheat that we had 200 years ago didn't hurt people. Did you hear of gluten allergy 200 years ago? And we had to eat the whole grain. Then they started to refine the wheat.
Exactly.
And what did they do?
Trouble.
Exactly. They removed the hull, they removed the germ, and all was left is a white flour. Now, what happened? In the 1920s, they had the white flour, and they wondered, why do the people that eat that new white flour get beriberi?
Exactly.
And that's a B vitamin deficiency disease.
Okay.
And that's why we now have the modern enriched white flour.
Exactly.
They added the niacin. That's just one of the nutrients of the whole grain. They added that so the people don't get beriberi. But it's really not enough, because we still don't get any nutrition, don't we?
Exactly. There's nothing.
On top of that, okay, we have to switch the phone off when we do the Facebook Live. On top of that, when the people eat the modern wheat has been genetically modified. When you are the older generation like myself, I remember going through a wheat field. The wheat was about that high. It went to my chest. You look on a wheat field now, the wheat is about that high. And the seeds, the corns, the grains are much bigger than they used to be. So that's what they modified them to be. Not only that it's easier to harvest, less losses, and the grains are bigger, but now they're resistant to all kinds of chemicals, including the well-known glyphosate.
Exactly.
Glyphosate was originally an antibiotic and a cleaning substance.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's quite weird.
Is that the one they call Roundup?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Roundup Ready.
Okay.
And glyphosate in Roundup by our not-so-friend Monsanto produced, and for example, the seeds, the GE seeds that are Roundup Ready are also patented by Monsanto. Another thing, that's a political thing. We won't get into that today.
That's right.
But those glyphosate as an antibiotic kills not only the soil microbiome, but also our microbiome.
Exactly.
So when we eat genetically modified food, modern white flour, most of the oils and most of the processed foods contain large amounts of glyphosate. And I just learned that canned beans contain a lot of glyphosate.
Really?
Yes, the regular canned beans. The highest amount of glyphosate is in canned beans.
Like
conventional canned
beans.
Even
like chickpeas? Or?
Yes. I've seen the stats. It's amazing. People don't know that. And the interesting part is what they use the glyphosate for. It is an antibiotic, we know that, but it's also an herbicide. It destroys the weeds, and a pesticide. It destroys the bugs.
Right.
So the bugs, good and bad, everything gets destroyed. And the weeds get destroyed. And normal wheat plants wouldn't be able to survive it. But the genetic modified,
Mhm.
they can
Of course they
survive it.
can.
So when that glyphosate drifts in normal wheat fields, they kill the wheat. Sad. So that's one thing. And the second thing they use glyphosate for, what I didn't know until I talked with my friend Michelle Farmer, is that we in Nova Scotia and everywhere else, they use glyphosate 10 days before the harvest for potato plants, for bean plants, and for many other plants to get rid of the foliage, make the plant wilt, so it's easier to harvest.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize locally, is that it's being done locally. I think when people hear a lot about all these GMOs, they think, oh, that's just in the States. That doesn't, if I know the farmer, or they don't think that happens.
Oh yes.
But it's a big concern for us here as well.
Big concern here in Nova Scotia. We spray just as much glyphosate, if not more, than anywhere else.
Wow.
And most conventional foods contain it. So that's why I don't recommend you eating white flour, the conventional white flour generally, and especially not processed foods that contain white flour and other ingredients that may or may not be toxic by themselves. My typical pet peeve is Wonder Bread. Of course. Wonder Bread, you squeeze it and there's nothing left. And when you let it go, it expands. What a wonder. Now, the modern wheat, many people don't know, is a high gluten wheat.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so spongy. When I bake my own bread, it is made out of an old variety of wheat, and it's a whole grain.
Okay.
It is not spongy. It actually falls apart quite easily.
Okay.
So people are used, when they pop Wonder Bread in the toaster, they can use hard butter or whatever. It doesn't fall apart. Right. Regular, normal bread does. Another thing, you can keep Wonder Bread on the counter for weeks or months without getting bad. It might get hard if you expose it to the air, but it doesn't get bad. Regular bread, after a week, gets moldy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so.
It's because it doesn't have any preservatives.
That's right. It doesn't have any preservatives, and it is a natural food. It doesn't contain the glyphosate, because the glyphosate is an antibiotic, so it's antifungal too. So the more glyphosate in a food, the longer it keeps.
Right, definitely.
That's my idea of a fake food. If it doesn't rot, it's a fake food.
Yeah.
I had grapes I bought. Great looking grapes. And I forgot them in the crisp of the freezer. I found them after 3 months. They looked like I bought them yesterday.
What? 3 months?
Yeah. I thought by myself, oh my God. And I used to eat that.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's my pet peeve for today. Have a great day and enjoy your non-GMO, hopefully organic food.